I'm Lynn Follett, and I'm the Economic Development Specialist at the City of Richland. And today I'm joined with Richland PD Crime Prevention Specialist, Nick Mutrix. Thanks for joining us, Nick.
Thank you for having me, Lynn.
So today we're going to talk about how business owners and employees might deal with loitering, begging, and vagrancy at their business. My first question for you is, how many calls for service do you guys get a year?
Typically, since about May of 21, we received about 50 calls or so a month in regards to loitering or vagrancy or trespassing type calls. And most of those calls come into us on our non-emergency line, which is going to be the 628-0333. And that's the main line that people are going to want to use when they're calling about these issues. Now, that doesn't mean that these issues can't turn into an emergency and they might turn into a 911 call, but typically it's going to be a non-emergency dispatch that we want to call and not 911.
So when we talk about loitering and harassment of customers or vagrancy around a business, what types of behaviors should business owners be looking for to know if there's going to be a problem?
A big part of that is looking to what's out of the norm. When things start happening that are out of that norm or maybe different, that's a time when it's to recognize that and say, okay, I might want to keep an extra eye on this group of people because of these behaviors, that it's not normal for my business.
And some of those behaviors are things like watching staff more than they're shopping.
That's a good point. I mean, if they're paying attention to more of what's going on inside the store as opposed to a normal shopper. Sometimes people will come in, they're looking for exit doors, they're looking for cameras, they're looking how many employees are in the store. All of these things are not normal for a person to come into a store. Usually a person is going to come into a store and shop and look at the items that are for sale, not cameras and employees and what their habits are, things like that. That would be an indicator of going, this person doesn't seem like a normal customer.
So for a business owner that has someone that's been hanging out in the store, doesn't appear to be purchasing or shopping, and they've offered assistance and they don't obviously want any, and they feel like that person needs to move on, what should they say to that person in their store that they want to leave the store?
I think the first step is, making contact with that person and explaining to them that, hey, this is my business and, I would like you to leave. I don't think you need to get into an arguing match with the person or try to necessarily make them see your side of you. I think as a business owner, you have the right to refuse service to anybody. And if you've chosen based on what you've seen that you don't want it, this person is not being a customer, they're just loitering, I think you have every right to go up and ask them to leave. Okay. And if they refuse to leave or they start becoming argumentative, that would be the next step into maybe contacting the police department to come and assist.
So earlier you and I talked a little bit about the process for trespassing someone that has been a problem in a business, and what do business owners need to know about that process?
One of the important things with that is it goes beyond just simply asking someone to leave your business. They need to be advised that they're not welcome at the store, they're not welcome to come back if that's a route that the business owner wants to go, and advise them that if they do return to the store, then they're going to be in violation of trespassing.
And so that's important language. They need to say that they're not welcome to come back, and if they do, they'll be in violation of trespassing.
Correct. Okay. If I were to ask someone to leave and they leave, that could be the situation, could be over, but if they come back, that starts a whole new incident where they could come back and then be asked to leave again.
Right. And you also mentioned before the importance of business owners need to keep the records of any time they've asked someone not to come back.
Correct. It's kind of the business owner's responsibility to maintain records of someone they've trespassed. Now with that, sometimes obviously you don't always know their name, but to document whatever information you can. If you have a notebook or a computer file where you can write things like the date, the time, describe the situation, describe the incident, describe the person that you're dealing with, whether that's their physical looks, what they're wearing, any distinguishing marks, tattoos, things like that. The more information you have to identify someone and the circumstances gives the credibility when that person comes back, and the officer can say, you can tell the officer, look, I've advised this person of trespassing on this date, at this time, he was wearing this. This is the tattoo he has on his left wrist. I mean, it just helps give credibility to what that business owner is telling us, that it's not just some random person that's giving you an issue. This has been a repeated issue. This is someone who's come to your business that has been told to leave, who's been told to not come back. and has already been advised of trespassing. All that is information that the officer is going to need if it were to go to the level of enforcement where that person is now arrested or given a citation for trespassing.
Lastly, what other tips do you have for businesses?
I think a big one is having cameras in your business. If that helps tremendously, both as a deterrent to crime and as helping solve those crimes later. I would put, if you do have cameras, make them visible. Don't try to be discreet. Don't try to hide them and capture things. I would put them out there loud and proud so that everybody who comes into your business can go, oh, this person has cameras. Another big thing I think is if it's feasible for your business is to not be the only employee in the store. Okay. It's nice to have more than one employee because sometimes some of these retail thefts or organized people will come in and their whole purpose is to distract you with nonsense or random questions or whatever they're doing just so their partner can go over and steal items or commit a crime and you don't know until after they've both gone. So sometimes it's nice to have another person in the store who can help mitigate that when you can. And also it's a safety issue. It's nice to have someone else that's there with you and you're not by yourself. I mean, obviously it's not feasible for every business to have 2 employees at a time, but I think it's an important factor if you're able to.
All right, great. All right, thank you, Nick. Appreciate your time today. And a big thank you to Peacock Coffee today for hosting our Toolkit talk on how to handle loitering, begging, and harassment in businesses. Be sure to check out all of our Small Business Toolkit episodes on the city's website at www.richlandbusiness.com. Thank you.